Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of Fintech News. I'm your host, Nicolas Bellavo.
I am Pascal Nandal.
And Fintech News is your weekly show where we bring you what's going on in fintech here in Canada and across the world every Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. So today we're talking about National Bank's top 5 teams, part of their innovation competition, the coronavirus and what's happening in the fintech world and also the general finance world because of it. And lastly, here at home, Ticksmith, which raises $2 million thanks to La BDC. So we'll kick it off. So National Bank for the last 3 months has been inviting Canadians to participate in their innovation competition, focusing on disrupting the wealth management industry. We've been helping them out. We've been speaking about it quite a lot. But last night, the top 5 teams finally met all in person here in Montreal, and we wanted to give you a quick introduction publicly about what they are working on. So I'll kick it off. I'll start by speaking about Aquantex, which is a startup that actually went through some of our programs, so we're really happy for them. Aquantex essentially measures the impact of climate change on investments. So, for example, if a hedge fund has a lot of shares in some company, let's say where there might be a risk of a water shortage, and they, like Coca-Cola, for example, they heavily rely on having a water supply, and if there was a drought, they wouldn't be able to produce as much. Well, with Aquantex, they study the effects of climate change to be able to predict and analyze the effects it has on these investments.
And what happened to big industry like oil industry, any company who are using the water just for their manufacturing tool, if they pollute, there will be an effect also on their stock price and they will get a bad reputation, and it's also one of the mission of Aquantex.
Yeah, definitely very cool startups. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with them in the competition. At the end of the competition, so on April 30th is the demo day, where there's going to be one final winner walking away with $100,000. So out of the top 5 we're going to introduce today, only one will win, but hopefully they all continue to grow throughout it. You want to talk about another of the one?
Yes. Also another company called Wallo, based in Quebec. It was created by 2 women, Rim and Chloe. And they went also through our program, Ascension, our incubation program. And they are one of the finalists. What Wallo are doing, they are teaching the value of money to children. And one couple of studies shows that when kids are teach the value of money, when they growing up and once they are adult, they are spending less money, they are saving more money, and they are taking less smaller mortgage or lending.
For sure. Well, just in schools in general now, we don't have that financial education. There's no one-on-one home economics. So they're trying to do that in this digital age with and gamifying the whole experience, so kids are able to learn about money from the age of 10. Next we have Wealthica/Innovestor. So this is a partnership between 2 established companies, but that wanted to participate in this competition. They're trying to make it easier, very easy for people to understand their retirement goals and their retirement plan. So essentially they ask their age, they take a snapshot about your current investments and banking status, and then are able to associate a score to demonstrate how ready individuals are for retirement, and then also steps to be able to better prepare, which is a very important thing, considering, especially for millennials who don't think about retirement, and pension funds are becoming less and less of a thing. So they try to make it easy to really directly figure out if you're ready for retirement or not.
Yeah. Talking to retirement, there is another company also that we're selecting. It's called Mind the Gap. It's a very interesting idea. It's on the side, it's regarding something sad. It's when your parent or any relative die, they have some wealth, and how do you transmit this wealth to your beloved, to your family. Beloved family. Exactly, and there is a huge challenge because a lot of these families are struggling, and they don't know. It takes time, and also a lot of these bank finally lose some customer, and it's very important for this bank to retain the customer and to advise them. And some family have a lot of money or some decent money, and people don't know to use this money. And this company, Mind the Gap, are tackling this challenge.
To figure out how to
Yes,
fill that gap.
it's very interesting.
Absolutely.
And it's something we don't talk about it, and I think it's something that it's really they identify a challenge.
Yeah, a problem in the market. Lastly, there's What If IO. They're actually the only team in the competition that's outside of Quebec, so they're based out of Vancouver, BC. And it's to answer the question of what if I want to buy a house? What if I want to send my kids to private school? What if I, etc. So that was his pitch, and I found it really cool. They're trying to help people answer these what if I financial questions or queries they might have. They make it really easy. It's a data visualization platform essentially that studies your habits, that looks at all your investments and your financial situation to better advise you of what path to follow, if buying a house for you makes sense right now, or if you should wait a year or a couple of years before making that financial decision. So it's really that giving you very simple answers to complicated questions. So that pretty much resumes the top 5 teams of the National Bank competition. So congrats to all of them and all of you if you're watching, and looking forward to see how they develop during the next 2 months.
And all the best to all of you to win the grand prize,
Absolutely.
10K, and I'm sure that it will be an amazing experience. I think there is no loser.
No, for sure.
Only winner, and even if the company were unselected, I'm sure the project were very strong. We heard a lot of good feedback from Banque Nationale
Yeah.
about how strong the team was, and I'm glad that in Canada we have this kind of ecosystem in fintech
And the involvement from the financial institution to really support these teams moving forward. The experts that were there last night at the kickoff, it was absolutely fantastic to see. So yeah, very excited to see what happens over the next 2 months going into the spring. Next, on less fun news, but I'm sure you've all heard, the coronavirus is spreading around the world, and this is having an impact on fintech, but money as well. The news we heard of today, which is quite interesting but makes sense, is China actually quarantined money, dollar bills, to be able to sterilize them such that the virus doesn't spread on the notes themselves.
Yes, definitely, and it's very interesting because they sterilize, but there is also a lot of crypto enthusiasts who said, okay, this is an application for Bitcoin, an application for cryptocurrency. The money needs to be digitalized, and look at it. We have a virus, and everyone is struggling and said, okay, how can we protect the citizen? How can we still make this economy run? Cryptocurrency can be a solution.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. On the other side, we have a lot of, I read an article, and I think we read the same article, we are scared for the fintech sector, because I think like any sector, it's not only fintech, it can be e-commerce, it can be all this kind of, all the industry. They may struggle in the next few weeks and months if we are going to an economic crisis.
Right. So the idea is, or the thesis behind it is, if this spreads to be an important epidemic or pandemic, that people will stay at home more, purchase less, the economy overall will slow down. But for fintechs, especially payment fintechs, which is the biggest vertical, at least here in Canada, people will be making less payments. And then the fintechs behind these payment companies that's their revenue model, right? They take a percentage off of these payments, and it's just going to be a big slowdown. So we might see a slowdown in the investments rounds we've been seeing. Hopefully, all these fintechs will be able to get through, and I'm sure we'll also see, like you're mentioning in crypto, alternative fintechs as well that could take advantage of the situation at the same time.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens. Hopefully everybody stays safe, wash your hands, and hopefully for fintech it doesn't have too much of a negative downswing, but we'll definitely keep monitoring that. And then lastly in the news, an investment round from Ticksmith, raising $2 million from BDC.
Yes, Ticksmith, and congratulations to Ticksmith. They raised 2 million round from BDC, and it's very interesting because BDC are glad to help Ticksmith, and especially because it's a special funding they got. They got a funding from a company who have revenue and who want to go to the next step. And Ticksmith, if you don't know Ticksmith help to a company, capital market company and financial service company, to leverage their data, to interpret the value and gain insight from your financial data. And the team is strong. This company was created in 2012, and it was last year some experts said that it was one of the 50 more promising company in fintech in Canada.
Okay. No, really cool news, and well, a great win for the local fintech community as well.
Yes.
So that's everything from us here at the Fintech Cadence headquarters. Thank you so much for tuning in. Join us next week, Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. for another episode. And if not, we're back in 5 minutes for the French version, Les Actualités Fintech. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great week, everyone.
Bye. Have a good week.